Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit Zappy here, back again with Kuroko in a Basket Season 2. We are on episode 23, and in the last episode, we spent basically all of the third quarter. I think we're still in the third quarter at the end of last episode. In episode 22. So yeah, I mean, when I was talking about last episode, about how the first half of the match, the first two quarters went over very quickly, and I said that, yeah, I think they were going to slow it up a bit. They definitely have. And basically, last episode, Seirin took the game to Yosen pretty much the whole time. Of course, we had Tatsuya actually come out a bit, which obviously previously in the first half of the match he didn't really turn up. But in last episode he did actually turn up with obviously his what he refers to as the Mirage shot, of course, and the fact that of him being the opposite of Aomine in a way that he is, he's perfected his form. Sort of being, following essentially exactly how basketball kind of should be played, whereas Aomine just does, anything that he wants and goes against the grain kind of thing. So we saw Tatsuya obviously come out. Kagami did shut him out as well last episode, which was cool. Kiyoshi MVP. I feel like last episode, in terms of a one-on-one with Murasakibara, Kiyoshi came out in flying colours. I think he just absolutely outdid him at every turn, which was really cool. Basically dunked over the top of him, which was amazing. And him going back to point guard as well, and just changing out to that, just completely changed everything up, and their game plan just worked against Yosen unbelievably well. So yeah, really cool. But because all of that happened, Murasakibara is not playing any games anymore. He's about to get serious, which is cool, because now we can actually see what he's made of. Previously, with him not being all that serious, him just hanging back purely on defense, he's decided to come up to the offense as well. So this is where it gets tough, I feel like, because Murasakibara is not going to be playing around anymore. Kiyoshi almost fainted last episode, so with him being the center and to defend in that center role, I don't know if he's going to have the energy to take on Murasakibara in this state. So it could be a case of Kuroko coming back on now, but we'll have to see if that is the case. But yeah, there's nothing else to really talk about, so we're just going to get in episode 23. If you want to go watch the reaction, link is in the description below. There's also the link to the full length if you want to watch the reaction in full and not just the cut 10-minute version. Then the offer is there for you. But yeah, nothing else to really talk about, so we're going to get in episode 23, see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 23. Where to begin on that one? Well, Murasakibara did fucking come out. He came out hard, didn't he? Fucking hell. I love the fact that he's drawn and animated with just straight up whited out eyes. It gives him more of that impression that he's just a fucking a monster, you know what I mean? And every time I see him where he's purposefully drawn absolutely fucking huge, I just keep thinking it's Attack on Titan all the time. He's that fucking big, and I think at some points the perspective of the scene is amplified in a way. Exaggerated of how how big he is. I know he's big anyway, but sometimes they do just draw him he's fucking he's at an inhumane level. So but yeah, we've got some interesting sort of facts about him as well, is that he's actually the most combative. He actually was the one that scored a record 100 points. So not even the likes of Aomine got that, but I never thought for once that defense was his sort of, well, I guess I have said that before, that his whole thing is he's going to be the defensive one in a way, and for to say that isn't wrong, because that's generally what this team focuses around, right? And that's the reason why the points scored are is very low. But I never once debated whether or not he could do it on offense, because at the end of the day, that is a center's job. You know what I mean? A center's job isn't just being on defense. It's to be a center just means you're on the inside, right? That means under your hoop and under the opponent's hoop as well. You know what I mean? So and he even fucking broke the hoop. I mean, I mentioned it during the reaction, but those are competitive style hoops as well. Like that, they're not flimsy. So to break that fucking shit, Jesus. I love the fact that Kagami actually came back as well and tried to do a back dome as which is kind of a throwback as well, because that happened with Kagami and Kisei in season 1 when they had their practice match, right? But it was kind of like an unfair deal because Kisei couldn't do it on a more sturdier hoop, whereas Kagami basically did it on the sort of older style ones, right? The ones that weren't as kept up as the competitive ones. But yeah. Oh damn, Murasakibara, man. He's a tough one. But like even then, I love the fact that Kuroko, he pissed Kuroko off, and we know that when Aomine had said previously that if you piss Tetsu off, right, that's you're gonna lose. But I love the fact that even under that sort of, in that state of mind that Murasakibara is in right now, of he's tearing it up, Kuroko still outdid him by, it's not just a case of him shooting, it's like if you try to swat it away, you're basically in more of a position to swat away a shot or a pass, but you're not necessarily going to be in the trajectory of both. But if, talking about how it's better to just fucking have your hand above the trajectory of the hoop of where the shot's going to go, then Kuroko's just like, alright, fine, I'll just fucking alley-oop it then. And it's just perfect, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a way that, like, with Kuroko being able to shoot, he literally has opened up so many more options, you know what I mean? And that doesn't just extend to Kuroko either, that extends to every member on Seirin. Like, they have so many weapons in their arsenal now to pull out whenever they want that it's like, it's almost impossible to predict. For, you know what I mean, like, in the middle of that game, Hyuga just decided to pull out the barrier jumper, you know what I mean? It's just like, fuck, you know what I mean? It's like, if you are the opposing team and you're doing your research on everything that this team, that Seirin can pull off, you're not going to remember all of it. And even if you do before the game, in the midst of the game, when things are happening quickly, like, how much fucking information do you have to keep in mind about what they're doing? I feel like Seirin are at a point now where, and this is where you can see that, there's similarities, of course, between Kuroko and Haikyuu, which, I've stated before, with Haikyuu being, it was inspired by, Kuroko, and then it was done because of that, because the mangakas were, are friends. But another similarity here is that, like, Seirin is like, that they're a team with so many attacking possibilities, and the same is in Haikyuu with Karasuno. Like, they're a team that have so many different options that they can just, like, throw out, something that they've learned ages ago at any point in the match and just keep it fresh the whole time, because you can rotate those out at any point, and it's something that, you know what I mean, like, the opponent has to basically pick and choose from the options available to them in a split-second moment and almost anticipate it before it happens, which a lot of the time is impossible. So the fact that they can just pick and choose, like, anything, out of their arsenal is like, it's an attack in of itself, you know what I mean? It's really good. Like, I think what you've noticed is, like, with the opposing teams, and again, it's similar to sort of Haikyuu in a way. Of course, other teams have, like, if you're talking about the Generation Miracles, of course they can up their game and everything like that and bring out, new things that way. But I think in terms of the way that the opposing teams actually kind of play, it's a lot more fixed. Whereas Seirin is more like, their game is generally fluid, you know what I mean? Their formations are fluid, they can change in and out of different positions. They can pull off, different move sets and everything, and it keeps them fresh the whole time, and it would make them a real tough opponent to face off against, because you just don't know what they're going to do next. Other things as well as Kyoshi had a height complex, which is an interesting sort of thing. Is like something that I wonder if that was something that he had before he found basketball. You know what I mean? Like if that was like something that he kind of, similarly to Murasakibara with with the height that he has, it just ends up being a thing that even though he doesn't find it fun, he's just good at it, so he does it. But with Kyoshi, sort of I guess being the same thing of him finding something within his height that allows him to be, to work in a team and actually do something with his height. But he found fun obviously in that, So there's obviously a lot of, I guess, comparisons between certain characters. We obviously had the one that was with like it wasn't a comparison, but it was an opposite, which is Murasakibara and Kuroko, being that they both are, well, at that point in that flashback anyway, they were members of the first team, but they got there through different ways and different methods. So realistically, like in Murasakibara's case, that he has no reason to like shut down Kuroko in that moment. Kuroko has the right of way, because with his hard work, he clearly was never naturally talented at all, but he's worked his way into the first team through hard work, so that the evidence is there right on a plate. But we all know that Murasakibara is a bit of a idiot. He's kind of like got like a child's brain, you know what I mean? Like the way that he thinks about things. So it's almost like even though he might know, it's like he doesn't want to be wrong either. In the same way that he doesn't want to lose, he's got a very sort of childish mentality surrounding his whole personality, not just in certain aspects. So yeah. Got a few things that in this episode that I want to pick up on. Like I guess similarly to the Kurosaki Daiichi game, where I give the refs like, I shot down the refs because they were basically fucking idiots, not picking up on anything. I feel like the same thing happened here. First of all, I don't know if the charging thing. I don't know I've said this before, you know what I mean? I don't know the rules of basketball, like in and out, you know what I mean? Like so in terms of like charging, I don't know if it's a case of like, does the person who's being charged, like the opposition, have to be taken off his feet in order for, I mean, I guess I can just look it up, right? It's not going to spoil me if I just put in basketball charging. Charging. A charging foul occurs when an offensive player makes significant contact with a defensive player who has established their position with both feet on the ground and their torso square facing the opponent. Okay. Well, alright, okay, maybe that one wasn't a foul then, when he basically charged through two of them. Because I feel like they were away from, I think they were outside the 3-point line at that point, when Murasakibara was driving through, and I think they were more so like not square on, but like kind of off center, and I don't think they had their feet firmly sort of planted in place, ready to defend that, because obviously that only so I guess charging really only happens, I mean, I guess it can happen elsewhere on the court, but I feel like it mostly only happens within like that sort of, within the 3-point line almost, at least around there. So yeah, that would make sense. But the one, like at the end of the third quarter, the buzzer beater for the third quarter, that was legitimately a point. I don't know why that was not taken at all. Like, why was that taken away? From what I saw, there was nothing wrong with that at all. He clearly shot it before the buzzer went. Or is it just a case of like, are they showcasing something like a mistake that the refs legitimately made? So it's like something, it's like making it more realistic. If that is the case, then actually fair dues. Because I feel like I can't even remember if anything like that's happened in Haikyuu. I don't think it has. But I like the idea of something being purely unfair because of a ref's decision. Like, I like the idea of that. But even so, I'm still pissed because Seirin is obviously like my team, It's the same thing as if you're watching an actual game in real life where your team got fucked over because a ref made a wrong decision. You would be pissed. But so in that regard, if as I'm watching it as a match of me wanting Seirin to win, I hate the fact that that was a mistake. It's bullshit. But the fact that they actually wrote that in is actually, I give credit to that, because I don't think that would happen a lot in anime. I feel like they wouldn't even think about it, But making it more realistic by having refs make mistakes is actually an interesting thing. So I don't know if that was the case though, or if there was legitimately something wrong with that. But the fact is, they never mentioned why it was a no count. So I don't know. I'm guessing it was just a mistake then. What else? Yeah, I mean, speaking of the charge as well, Kuroko felt like forcing it. Very smart. He's done that a couple of times. He's done that with Aomine as well. I like the fact that like he actually, because a lot of the time, you can think of something like forcing a charge as to be something like underhanded in a way, but it's a smart play. So I have no qualms about Kuroko doing that. You know what I mean? He's basically forcing Murasakibara into it. It's just perfect. The defensive formation, love that. I love the fact that it basically gives a higher chance of Kuroko stealing the ball, and puts them in a strictly defensive position that allows them to counterattack quickly, and specifically with just Kuroko, and that allows that formation has basically become a real solid foundation for Kuroko, for Seirin, because Kuroko is able to shoot now, allowing him to actually drive forward with the ball and take a shot and not have to worry about, missing. Of course, he's still 7 out of 10, but I mean, saying that, every shot that he has taken, he's actually gotten in this match. He hasn't missed one yet. So, he's taken 3 shots, I believe, and he's gotten all 3 of them. So eventually he's going to miss, right? He just is. What else? Yeah, and then at the end there, just before they went into the fourth quarter, we were not looking at it through the eyes of Kiyoshi, but I think we were put in the position of Kiyoshi almost in a way, seeing things from his point of view without being it through his eyes. That he was sort of zoning out in realization that the team is reliable, and I mean I don't know if that was why it was written that way on purpose, but the first word that literally come up into my head after the dialogue zoned out, I was like, damn, they're reliable. The feeling I got from watching that team talk is unlike any team talk previously. For some reason in that moment, it felt like a real match. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the things, when you talk about, shows or, movies, the idea is that you're supposed to, suspend your disbelief. That's what it's all about. It's about, getting sort of sucked into the whole thing, that you believe that it's real. And I will say that, for anime, I guess for cartoons, it's obviously harder to do that than live action. You know what I mean? But you get sucked into it anyway. But it's, especially as well, I guess when you're reacting, and it's part of kind of, what I do is, write stuff down and everything. So when I'm taking notes and everything about what, everything that's happening, I'm always on the cusp. I'm not fully enveloped, because if I was, then I just would forget to take notes. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I just forget to write down notes, and I just get enthralled in a show that I'm watching. But this is the first time in a team talk in this show where I was looking at it and just being damn, the production on that team talk alone just felt real. You know what I mean? To the point where I was just looking at it and just thinking all of the team, we're just in there, in that sort of I can't say in the zone, because that doesn't work now, because there's a zone thing in this show. But they were just sort of focused. They were zoned in, whilst Kiyoshi was sort of on the sideline, obviously with him being on the bench, and sort of just in kind of just that realization phase of being reliable. And like I said, that was the first word that came to my mind. So when Kiyoshi came back from it and said you're so reliable, it felt weird. Like I was completely on the same wavelength as Kiyoshi. And that's great for me, because that means that, you know, that's confirmation to me that I know why he's my favourite character now. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't need it before, but, like, you know, just it's a nice realisation, I suppose. A nice sort of confirmation there, that I was just truly on the same wavelength with him. And yeah, the fourth quarter begins, and Kiyoshi says that he needs a favour. So, whatever that means, I have to assume that it's him getting back on the court before the end of the match. Alright? Maybe to take on Murasakibara when he's actually serious, and it's like he wants to get that 1 point against him. We'll see. Because I think before Kiyoshi actually came off the court, Murasakibara actually got one back on him, you know, which is, I think, is what Kiyoshi wants to rectify, and I think that's what it is. So, you know, I think he wants to purposefully show Murasakibara that, you know, I haven't died inside because I was put on the bench, like you thought that I would, you know. He's just giving it him back, like, you know, that his resolve can't be just taken away so easily like you think it is. So, you know, I think that's probably what it is. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. So, really, really enjoying this match. Of course, like, it's not like I never don't enjoy a match between between Generation of Miracles anyway, so, you know, but really, really cool. But if you want to gain access to episode 24 and 25 right now, you can do by becoming an early access tier patron over on my Patreon. It's $5 a month, gives you access to shows a week early, so yeah, you can get access to those next 2 episodes right now. There's also the full length tier if you want to watch any of these reactions in full and not just the 10-minute cut versions. And then there's the exclusive tier, which gives you access to movie reactions and things like that. So if you want to watch my reactions to movies that are coming up very soon, then that is the tier for you. But that is all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.